Hi.
This is Athena Rose, and she is upper class woman at Oso Grande Elementary School, 5th grader. Pretty cool, huh?
My pet looks good.
Did she?
Yeah.
Happy Friday, everybody. Give everybody like 1 second to come on, but we have a happy hour Q&A today at the very end. So, hello everybody. Thank you for being here. We'll go ahead and get started, and people can just watch the beginning if they want to afterwards, because we record this and also make it available on YouTube besides having it on Facebook Live. That way you can link it out to clients that might not have a Facebook Live but can at least watch the video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. I should really turn on my clicker though. Here we go. Episode number 44, Quantitative Economics Decision Sciences, UC San Diego. This is my background, 29 years in the business, Orange County native, Capital Valley High School grad. I have 9 kids, and I'm an avid runner. And I actually been working out like a fiend with my wife. We've been doing these different workouts on a daily basis, about half hour workouts. They're so intense. Holy smokes, my wife's got me on my toes. So we're a Brady Bunch family. I brought 6, my wife brought 2, I adopted her, she adopted mine. I guess we had this guy too. Yeah, number 9. There he is, Ezekiel Creed. Taking a nap right now. Last week he only slept for about a half hour and then was awake, and very much a part of last week's episode. So my background is I have also been part of the press, and our company is Reports on Housing. It's your local real estate snapshot. If you like what you're seeing here on Facebook Live, we go into detail with each and every county. We're not going to spend as much time looking at each of the counties, and the reason for that is because we want you to go to the website, subscribe to the reports, and get a lot of detailed information. Because once you have it in video form is great, but having it in writing that you can distribute it, show it to your clients and family, friends, sphere of influence, all that, the more important it is. Because it's all about drilling down to the correct expectations. Because we go over a lot of closed sales data right now, reflecting on August. And I'm here to tell you, I really don't care what's happened before. I want to know what's going on right now today, because closed sales, reflection of the past, you had to put it into escrow prior. So we spend so much time talking about closed sales, yet it's only a snapshot of prior data. It's like looking in the past. So instead, I want to look in the future. We got that windshield, and we've got our active listing inventory. That's the total supply. And then the demand. That's the last 30 days worth of pending sales velocity. So it's how many pending sales do we have? If we started to see an increase in pending sales, you'd start to see an increase in the velocity, and that would mean demand is rising. So that's what we look at, supply and demand. From that, we're able to come up with the expected market time. Place your home on the market today. When are you expecting to open up escrow? And the higher the number, if the expected market time is longer, it means you can take your time. You don't have to work as hard if you're a buyer. But if it's low, like it is today in most areas, wow, my friend Mike's giving me a call in the middle of this thing, and I forgot to put it on mute. Silly me. Anyways, if it's like it is today, it's such a low expected market time that the market's going to be on, that homes are going to be on market for such a short period of time that things are just popping off the market. You need to act quickly. So it's all about setting expectations of buyers and sellers and everybody out there so they understand really what's going on. And we have reports that dot all over Southern California. This week's report was for LA, Orange County, San Diego, and we just crunched the numbers for San Bernardino and Riverside, which will come out on this coming up Monday. The most recent report is the dangers of overpricing and what happens when you overprice. Because there's a number of homes that have been on the market for a long period of time, and they've overpriced their property. What happens is that a lot of times that actually eats into their net proceeds. and because they're exposed to the market for longer, and there are other ramifications to being exposed for such a long period of time. There's just not the same oomph as when you first initially come on the market. There's a lot of people waiting for those homes to come on the market, but when one's been sitting and they come down in price, it doesn't get as much fanfare. And we go into detail on that, statistically show what it means to overprice your home. So you go to reportsonhousing.com, REPORTS, that's plural report, reportsonhousing.com, and click on subscribe, and it comes out every 2 weeks. Like I said, we alternate between Inland Empire and Along the Coast. Along the Coast was this week, and there's a lot of links at the bottom of every single one of those reports. The most recent report, you'll actually get it'll be emailed to you as soon as you sign up, and we'll send you the report, and at the bottom are all those links for copy, cut, edit, paste, Excel spreadsheets, all that. It's $15 per month or $150 per year. It's intentionally as expensive as a trip to Starbucks, but your Starbucks won't make you a lot of money if you're in the real estate industry, or allow you, if you're a buyer or seller, to make a sound investment choice. You could go to Starbucks all day long and talk to the people next to you. It's not going to help you out in the long run, typically. So $15 per month or $150 per year for this report, and you can make some sound housing decisions. You get a month free if you sign up utilizing the coupon code AUTUMN, because guess what? We are officially in autumn now. You know, where it's nice during the day like today, and then it gets cool at night. I love this time of the year. I love it. I just don't like it when it gets too hot. So I'd like to thank our ongoing sponsor with it's Kevin Buddy. He's at Monarch Coast Financial, and boy, he's been around for quite some time and has done a fantastic job at Monarch Coast Financial. They have more than one kind of borrower, and they have more than one kind of loan. So at Monarch Coast Financial, they deal with full doc loans, they deal with alternative doc loans, they have investor financing, and they have private money loans as well. I hear Luna in the background. She wants to be a part of our presentation, and she's saying hello to everybody right now. And he's got experience. Kevin Buddy's been around for a really long time, helping buyers finance their dream homes. And he's been doing it since 1976. Absolutely, this guy knows his stuff. He is on top of the economic game and what's going on with financing and interest rates and all that. Very smart guy, is a friend of mine. Kevin Buddy, you can contact him today to help you. And you can contact him at 949-422-2075. That's 949-422-2075. All right. Hey, look at this. What a pretty picture of autumn. Yes, that's right. Now it's time for some fall fun photos. I couldn't say autumn fun photos. Doesn't sound as good as fall fun photos. And staff meeting this morning. Yes, this is our, love this mask. I told my wife I need to get a whole bunch of funny masks to just walk around with these, because, come on, that's a fun mask. And if somebody is wearing it, it would make you smile, and that's what this is all about, making people smile. Rice fixes everything. Let's give it a try, 2020. Let's put it in rice. Let's see if it fixes things a little bit. How about this? This was a Twitter post. Have checked in several mirrors and it's confirmed I look better in a mask. How about this one? Time doesn't exist anymore. It's just 2020. What day is it? 2020. What's the time? 2020. What month is it? It's 2020. I sometimes feel that. What day of the week is it? It's 2020. How about this one? This gal, she posted this onto Twitter and then had a whole bunch of people do the same thing, because this is real. She was on the news, and you could see here that she is just a normal mom. Has her computer up here on this chair, which is sitting on top of the table. They got all this fun toy stuff here. This is reality. This is what working from home in the midst of a pandemic looks like, right? We look professional, but she's also wearing shorts. I don't know what that's like. And then there's our daughter, Mia Rose. She went off to high school this week and actually has a blended schedule where she's half online, half half in person. So she's actually going back to school in Santa Margarita. So lucky Mia, I applaud her. I took this photo after I dropped her off, and how fun that she starts in-person classes. And she's starting this brand new school, and she actually was able to, she said, I was able to finally meet my virtual friends. Only growing up in 2020, you make virtual friends first, and then you meet them in person. So the Southern California market, housing, hot, as hot as what? A bonfire down at the beach. We all know how hot that can be when you put on too much wood and you got to back up because too much wood. That's what this is. That's how hot the real estate market is, even today. And I wanted to go over that typically real estate follows seasons. There's a seasonality to real estate. And there's the different seasons of spring, summer, autumn, and winter. They actually, spring starts a little bit early. Spring starts from about right after Super Bowl, mid-February, all the way until we get to the end of May, and peaks in the middle of May typically. Then we get into summer. And I know summer doesn't really begin until June 20th, but it start at the very end of May and start of June. We have that summer because the kids are graduating. There's a lot of distractions. That's what summer is about. And then we move into the autumn, which is when the kids go back to school. They've been going back to school earlier, so this is the end of August. I know that that's technically not autumn, but that is the seasonality for Southern California. It is at when the kids go back to school, all the way until you get to the winter/holiday market, which begins at November and runs all the way until Super Bowl. So, of course, the slowest time, if I take a snapshot of everything, is January 31st in the midst of the holiday season. So you understand, we had a spring market. This year, what ended up happening is we started the spring, we stopped, and then we began it during our summertime. And then now we're done with summer, and now we're moving to a new season, and a lot of counties are having confusion, a lot of people are having confusion, and we're waffling between either summer or autumn markets. And that's just has a lot to do with how low interest rates are, and it has to do with the fact that we skipped over a big chunk of real estate this year. So the markets have been acting a little bit goofy for September. I think it's going to start to even out a little bit in October, and we'll move more into a normal seasonal pattern, but it's going to take us a few more weeks to get there. And I think we're going to have a normal winter where we slow down. So spring is demand rapidly increases and supply increases slowly. So we get, because demand is coming at such a hot rate and it's going up, supply doesn't have a chance to grow that much, even though we have a lot of homes coming on the market during the spring. And then we get to the summer months, and what happens in summer? Demand drops slowly. So that's because there's a lot of summer distractions with vacations and things like this. And when I'm talking about demand, I'm talking about pending sales, not closed escrows, because we always hear July, boy, there's a lot of people closing in July and August. Well, a lot of that stuff had to be placed into escrow during spring. So demand drops slowly during the summer months, and supply increases slowly. So the supply continues to increase, and as demand drops. So usually during the summertime, the overall expected market time starts to grow, so it gets a little bit slower during the summertime because of all the distractions and more supply. And then we get into the fall, and that's when demand drops slowly, and we have supply drop slowly, almost at the same rate, but there is this shift. There's palpable shift where there's not as many buyers in the marketplace, and there's not as many homes coming on the market as well. So you have those two countering effects, but if you've got your home on the market, you can feel there's not as many showings. It's not as hot as the prior months. And then we get into this. Yep, it's around the corner, and like this. Boom, that's 2020. That's how it happens. It's going to be, before you know it, we're going to be wearing these holiday socks and cuddling up next to a fire. And that is where demand drops swiftly. And this is typically from the Thanksgiving all the way until the first of the year, of the new year. Then the demand starts to come up a little bit after that. But demand drops swiftly at the very beginning of the holiday market. And then we have supply drop swiftly as well. we get the lowest point in demand and the lowest point in supply typically right around the first of the year. So if you take a snapshot, that's where you have very few homes in the market and there's not a lot of buyer activity. Typical. You'd think that that's intuitively what goes on. Now let's talk about the Southern California housing supply. Active listing inventory year over year, this is where we're at. And September 17th, 25,657 is up 1% in it should say in the last, that was a 2 weeks. That was a 2 week period. And that was a week ago yesterday. So last year we were at 42,185, that's 64% more homes on the market. That's the purple line up there. And then we have today we were at 25,386, very autumnish. Not as, where we're starting to come down in the inventory. And so only coming down slightly. This isn't huge. 25,657 to 25,386, losing about 300 homes. So Southern California housing demand, that's the number of escrows over a 30-day period, and you've got this. You can see demand kind of peaked and it's been coming down a little bit since then. But is it that bad? Yeah, it's coming down, it's slowing down, but look at where it is compared to prior years. Holy smokes, it is still, we're going at a very, very fast velocity for this time of the year. And if you see that, September 17th, we were at 20,636. That was a week ago on Thursday. That's down 3% in 2 weeks. And then last year we were at 15,403. That was down, that's 25% less than where we're at today. So there was a lot less demand last year. And then, darn it, I did it again. And I approved this thing too. It just tells you, I need none eyeballs on this. It should say, yes, today, 20,751. That's actually up 0.6%. So demand increased slightly in the last week. We'll see if this continues. Typically, it's coming down at this time of the year. This is where I'm saying it's a little goofy. It's hard to really predict exactly where we're at this level right here where we came down to, because that means it's kind of flat right now. And we've done that before in the past. We're getting into like, some people are going to be negotiating in October to close in December when the kids are out of school. That's okay, and we call that October Housing Fest. It doesn't happen every year, but it could definitely happen this year because of how low interest rates are. It's going to spur more buyer activity. So as far as demand is concerned, you can see we've hit the peak of demand and we're coming down, but if you draw a line all the way across from where we're at right now, we're still at the highest level almost of all time since 2012, and back then, a lot of short sales were embedded in all the pending sales, a lot of them that didn't close. So this is a really strong reading compared to almost all time. And then if you look at expected market time, place your own on market, when are you going to go into escrow? You can see how we were way up here, 109 days for all of Southern California, and it's come down. That's since April, and this is where we're at. Kind of flat lined, where it's going up only slightly. And if I look at it, September 17th, we were at 37 days, only went up 1 day in a 2 week period. And if you looked at SoCal last year, we're at 82 days. That's that purple line. That's a big difference. And last year, we were at 37 days. That's, last year, gosh, I did it twice. That's today. Today's at 37 days. I just take this last one, I copied it, and I forgot to put today twice. Obviously, it's 37 days. Hasn't really moved. The needle hasn't moved at all from last week to this week. It did slightly because we have demand go up slightly and inventory go down slightly, but it's only such a slight amount that really it's in the decimal points. So I'm not going to do 35.6 days and 35.8 days. We are rounding to the nearest day. And you can see, draw a line across from this expected market time, and it's the lowest of all time since tracking in 2012. So that's August and September, lowest levels since tracking. And we just have a very, very low supply and very, very high demand, and even with demand slowing, we still have supply coming down a little bit more, so it's just feeding into this very, very hot market, and it's continuing. It'll manifest throughout the rest of this year. I actually had somebody say that they heard that values are going to come down from now to the end of the year, and I'm sitting there going, so sorry, that's just not how the charts work. That's not, if you look at everything, what the way that the data and the economics behind it read, it's just going to be hot for the rest of the year, and just expect that with these record low interest rates. It's going to continue to fuel this thing even going into the start of 2021. Home values are on the rise, and that's because of how hot it is. And it's being fueled by low interest rates. We got into this. This is as of yesterday. We're at 2.9, so it went up slightly. This is such a tiny little slight change from we were at 2.86, then 2.87, and we had 2.88 about a month ago, and we're at 2.9 right now. These are all record low rates, and they're just anything with a 2 in front of it is so darned hot that there is room for it to come down, but the system is so saturated right now with loans that they really don't have to do much as far as lending is concerned and moving those interest rates down to move the needle. So let's get into crumbs in the lower ranges. And yes, there are crumbs in the lower ranges. I totally, absolutely get it. There's just not a whole heck of a lot. Slim pickings is what we also call it. And first-time buyers, they're ready to purchase, and I've heard this from so many people. They're ready to purchase. My wife has an aunt there, so her cousin, or my wife's aunt's kid would be her cousin. Her cousin's looking to buy something, just having a really hard time finding anything. And it's very rough being a first-time home buyer because you're looking for entry-level housing. And as far as entry-level housing is concerned, it's this. You're writing offer after offer after offer, and you're losing to people with cash or big down payments or many other things that are up their sleeves. So, and I get it. So you write offer after offer, and you're just not getting them. It's like for the buyers. Boom, I wrote another offer. Boom, it's hard being a buyer. And I've had some people say, well, should I wait until later? And my answer is no. It's not going to get any better anytime soon. Interest rates are already at record lows, so continue to just fight the good fight, be the first out there, make the cleanest offer, do as much as you can, work with your professional real estate agent to actually come up with a very good plan of attack, maybe put together some video about you starting a family, or you have a young family, or you and the dogs can't wait to move into the house, all this stuff. Do something to make your offer be the one that stands out besides all the price and terms and all that good stuff. So, but I'm here to tell you about this. This is LA, Orange County, and San Diego. I did this differently because these kind of have different price ranges for LA, Orange County, San Diego versus Riverside and San Bernardino, except for the low desert. And I'm here to tell everybody, if you're in the low desert, please stop placing your homes on the market during the winter time and thinking that's when your needle moves the most. I've done a lot of extensive research on it, and you actually are like everybody else. You sell more homes during the spring than any other time in the year. So there's just you guys have this inventory that continues to rise during the winter time, and that's just not when people go, I'm going to purchase right now. It happens like when the regular seasons of housing. But LA, Orange County, and San Diego, this is homes placed in the market July to August. The number of homes placed on the market in July and August total, 4% more homes placed on the market in 2020 versus 2019. That's just the months of July and August. Look at the $0 to $500,000 range. It is missing 2,000 homes placed on the market, 22% low. There's twofold reasons for this. There's a lot of people in these low ranges that aren't placing their homes on the market because they we're in the midst of pandemic, and it keeps some people from mobility, so they're not moving, and it creates less inventory. However, part of this is we are actually gaining in value over like the last year, and if you look at the gain in value, it's moving some people beyond the $0 to $500,000 price range to the $500 to $750, and the people that are in $500 to $750, right, that $750 before about a year ago, are being moved to the $750 over $750,000, so they fall in this bracket. So in looking at this, check this out though. You're looking at 22% less homes that were placed on the market from 0 to 500, almost the same, only down 1%, so a couple hundred more last year for 5 to 750. 750 to 1.25, look at this. It is 1,500 more homes. Yep, that's right, math right. 20% more homes on the market this year compared to last year in this range. 1.25 million plus. Look at that, 2,000 extra, 33% more homes placed in the market. And I can tell you this right now, I know that the upper range is still extremely hot. Even though there's more homes coming on the market, things are flying off the market. It has a lot to do with the low interest rates that even the people in luxury can get right now. So, and there's a lot of good things happening up in luxury, and we've talked about that in great detail. But now let's talk about the active inventory. So I talked about numbers of homes placed on the market, but let's say, okay, if you go out today, numbers of homes on the market, it doesn't change that much. When I look at the year to year, we place between plus or minus 5% number of homes on the market. This year is going to be less, and that's because we have that big hole during the months of April, May, and June. And that created a big hole that I don't think we're going to really replace. So we're replacing a little bit in some of the counties, but it's not going to be enough. So, but if we look at this, these are numbers of homes on the market today active, if you're a buyer looking for something. And total, there are 24% fewer choices for buyers today. Everything else, even though we're placing a lot, 4% more on the market, we're placing them all into escrow. Escrow activity, we saw demand. That's the number of escrows in the last 30 days is way higher than prior years. We're placing them all into escrow, and as a result, there's not a lot on the market for buyers to choose from. And 0 to 500,000, down 31%. That's a lot of homes that are missing. If you see that, that's almost 3,000 to 4,300. So we're missing quite a few homes there, about 1,300 homes. And 5 to 750, we are missing almost to 2,000. That's also down 31%. 750 to 1 million, down 25%. 4,400 versus 5,869, and 1.25 million plus, we're at 7,313 versus 8,533. So even there, we're missing over 1,000 homes. So 1,200 homes are missing, and that's down 14%. So by and large, if you're a buyer looking for something, last year, a lot more choices. This year, a lot fewer choices in every price range, 1.25 million plus just being more choices compared to all the other ranges. And then as far as home sales are concerned, we actually for 2020 had 2% more in LA, Orange County, San Diego, and 0 to 500, 22% less. So you can see there aren't as many choices, there aren't as many coming on the market, there are fewer active listings. So what's happening is this is slowly disappearing and it's vanishing, and now we're looking, if you're a first-time home buyer, more towards 500,000 plus. And when you're looking at 500,000 plus, this is still hard. There's 2% less closed sales here, and yet in 750 to 1.25 million, 22% more. That's a lot more closed sales. So what is that, about 1,200 closed sales, 1,300? And then 1.25 million, we have an extra 1,000 closed sales, that's 31% more. So you can see where a lot of this activity is taking place, and we're closing a lot more sales. It's 750,000 plus. These lower ranges are slim pickings, and there are crumbs. And if we look Crumbs in Riverside and San Bernardino, this is the same story. There's actually, I don't know why I made that green, because I stole it from the other slide. There were 5% fewer homes that closed in Riverside, San Bernardino for the months of July and August. August was okay, it was flush, but July was still off. And the 0 to $200,000 range, look at this, 786 this year versus 1315. That was down 40%. That's the lowest entry level, that 0 to 200,000. And the 200 to 400,000 is down 24%. 5,600 versus 7,361. 400 to 650, there's actually an additional 700 homes that have closed, 14% more. And above 650, look at that, 1,398, 2,190 versus 1,398, that's 57% more homes that have closed in the upper ranges. So this is huge. And if you look at this is the number of homes that are on the market. So that was homes placed on the market. So we're not placing a lot below in the lower ranges, because 200 is moving up to the 200 to 400. 400 is moving up to the 4 to 650. So there's a lot more homes coming on the market in the upper ranges. But active inventory, if you're out there looking for a home, it's the same story, where it's all 52% fewer homes on the market. 68, 61, that's 52% fewer. 54% below 200. Look at that. Active listings right now. It's missing 700. And 200 to 400,000, that's down 65%. There's a lot of missing homes there. 4,000 missing homes. And here there's over a couple thousand, 54% less for 4 to 650. And then you have 650,000 plus. It's only missing 8%. That is if you're looking for homes. You have to look in the luxury for there to be an okay supply, but this is still far less than last year across the board. And as far as closed sales are concerned, I said closed sales of the first one. It was just the number of homes placed on the market. So it's 2% more homes closed this year compared to last year in Riverside, San Bernardino. And if you see that, it's just a few more hundred, but still it's more. But 0 to 200,000, there's 810 versus 1,059. That's 24% less. And 200 to 400,000, that's 10% less. But 4 to 650, 34% more homes closed, and 650,000 plus, 74% more closed. 1497 versus 858. And you wonder what happens when you get interest rates down in the twos. Well, it makes it a lot more affordable to purchase, and we're seeing a lot more of these type of homes sell. And that's because, you know what, part of it is, even if you were living in Orange County or something, or LA or San Diego, and you wanted to move where it was a little bit, your money could go a lot farther and you can get a bigger piece of land, you could do that here. Get a big giant property for $800,000 out in the Inland Empire, and you can telecommute instead. So that's what a lot of people are doing. You can see it's very, very hot in Riverside and San Bernardino. There are crumbs. And it's not impossible to find a property though. Here's what I've been telling people to do. What they need to do is, and we've gone over this before, there's a lot of homes, about 25% in the lower ranges. Some of them are still slim pickings between 5, 7, and 50, but there's still a number of homes that have been on the market for 60 days plus. This is LA, Orange County, Riverside County, San Bernardino, and San Diego. San Diego has 15% between 5 and 750, and this is 20% between 751 million that have been on the market for more than 60 days out of all the inventory within those ranges. But still, there are homes, 149 out of the 966, that have been on the market for 60 days plus. If I was a buyer, I would target market these people that have been off for over 2 months. They're more inclined to negotiate and do a little bit more. Yes, it might need a little bit more elbow grease. You might have to do new carpet and paint. It might smell like a dog or look like a dog, but you can negotiate those properties, and there's still inventory out there for you to take a look at, the stuff that's been sitting. So let's go into COVID really quick. And the world is at 32,350,000, and we're averaging 295,000 for the last 7 days. And you can see it's been slowly but surely been going up this direction. It's not as swift as an incline here, but it still has been going up as far as COVID around the world. We have not hit a peak yet. And as far as United States and Euro nations, the Euro nations and US, it looked like these were going to cross, but then our kids went back to school at colleges, and then this happened. So we got the spike, so now it's running parallel with Euro nations. And they're having a real problem in Europe, but we're kind of having a little mini problem here, and it's mainly 18 to 24-year-olds on college campuses. And UK, you can see, this is UK, France, and Spain are having the biggest issues, and there's a number of other European countries, but as far as the Euro nations are concerned, this is the UK, and they're right now averaging 4,422 cases per day, and they have 66 million, which means that you multiply this by 5, because they have 1/5 our population, that's at 20,000. So keep that number in mind, 20,000, and they are doing a lot more lockdown measures for the next few weeks because of this. The United States, we've done this, and now we've come down, but we've done this about face. We're at 7 million cases in the United States, and we're at 43,000 on a 7-day moving average. So that's what the 7-day moving average is for this right now. But 43,000, remember what I told you to keep in mind, that they're at, what did I say? I'm already forgetting, 66 million, they're at 4,000, so if you multiply that by 5, it's 20. So they're averaging 20. So our transmission rate is double what it is in UK, and UK is freaking out, and we've come way down, and we're at double where UK is, just for comparison purposes, based upon population size. And COVID-19 testing, we're at 5%, thank goodness, for the first time in a while. We came down, went up, and now we're coming down. So that means we're getting a 5% positivity rate of all the tests that are taken. We want to get well below 5%. We haven't really been able to drill this thing down. And part of that is because we're just not doing enough tests. We got to get above 1 million tests. We haven't even done it once. And if we got just above 1 million for a while, we'd see this positivity rate come down. We'd be able to contact trace a little bit better. And as far as California is concerned, we too hit a plateau like the rest of the nation. We're now 800,000 cases. That is as of today. And we're averaging 3,500 cases per day. That's better than when we were up here, where we were nearly hitting 10,000 cases. But now we're at 3,500 per day, and we're kind of maintaining that. And so we're not continuing to come down like I would like for us to see. But I know in Orange County we are, and we'll get into those metrics in a second. But as far as coronavirus is concerned, these are the states that are having the biggest problem. Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, my brother and sister and their families in Wisconsin, they're having problems. So it's all these different, and Tennessee, I mean, they have above 50% in the last 7 days. So they could see that they're getting a lot of COVID cases right now. So there are some states that aren't doing as well. And as far as unlocking is concerned, we have this new metric system. I tried to make this as simple as possible. This was last week 7.7 and 4.2. So 7.7 positives per 100,000, 4.2. And now it's 6.4. And 3.6% positive rate. So these metrics are getting better, and as a result, there's been things that have been opening up, and there's all these ridiculous tiers. But I made this as easy as possible to see. I see I'm gonna have to make that white for the next one. But that's LA County. And let's get into this. So this is where everybody is at as of Tuesday. They were able to upgrade. And if you look at this, Riverside upgraded. San Diego, whew, they almost went into the purple territory. And we'll get into each of these really quick, but Los Angeles County, actually, they're at pink orange right now, and you need to be this is going down, so if they have one more week of pink or better on both of these, then they will go down to the next stage, which is red. Orange County is orange right now, and if they have one more week at orange, they go down to the next tier, which will open things up. Riverside County just got upgraded to the red tier. San Bernardino, if they do one more week, they're in red right now, they get to go down to the red tier. And San Diego County, they almost went to the purple tier. They're in red tier. They're gonna have to wait a while because they have schools going back. SDSU ruined it for the entire San Diego County, and now UCSD is starting school on Monday. So we'll see what happens there when you have two giant schools in your county. So, let's see. As far as widespread tier, we talked about that. Not much that can happen. You have retail, 25% capacity, restaurants, outside dining, shopping centers, 25% capacity, hair salons, indoors, 25%. Red tier, for all those people that just got there, restaurants, indoor, 25%, movie theaters, 25%, churches, 25%. All these have 100 people maximum. Also, gym and yoga, 10% capacity. Museums, 25% capacity, and retail at 50% capacity. This is where Orange County can go next week. Restaurants indoor at 50% capacity. I think that's when we'll see Starbucks actually open up when they have 50% capacity. Movie theaters at 50% capacity, and churches at 50% capacity, now 200 people. And all these have a maximum of 200 people in there too. And then we have gym and yoga, 25%, and museums, 50% capacity. Retail, 100%. But they have to close the common area, so everybody can mold out in retail. And bars, outside only, when no food. And then bowling alleys open up 25%. And then offices open, but they encourage teleworking and, of course, wearing masks. So, macroeconomic outlook, a couple of things really quick. Unemployment comparison. So we were up at 9% or greater for only 4 months. And we drilled down below 9 months with the most recent reading. And so 2020 recession, as far as unemployment above 9%, only lasted 4 months. 1980s, 19 months. The Great Recession, it lasted 30 months with an unemployment rate of greater than 9%. And the Great Depression was at 108 months. So people thought we were going to go into the Great Depression, and yet we only had 4 months of unemployment above 9%. And yes, this is very interesting what was said by Bill McBride at Calculated Risk. He's somebody I follow. He's a smart dude. He said the course of the economy will be determined by the course of the virus. It's not going to be ruled by how great he was making this comment based upon how awesome new home sales are. New home sales normally would be a great indicator, and it's a good indicator right now, but we still have this big asterisk on everything in the economy, and that is called the coronavirus. So we have to be mindful that it's still out there. And then we have forbearance. Forbearance went from 7.01% to 6.93%. So it too is going down. 3.5 million people are in forbearance. 4.3 million in June. So you can see we've come down quite a bit. But I also stumbled upon this as well. There's about 1 million that are not in forbearance that are in default right now. So that number at 3.5 is really 4.5 across the United States. It will continue to go down as more people get out of forbearance, but we're going to have this million, which normally on a monthly basis we have about 500,000 that are delinquent. So we have about 500,000 that are in some stage of delinquency. So that's normal. That was prior to this pandemic. So this is a little bit more than, that's like double that. So it's more. And then we have these people that some of these will end up becoming a foreclosure or short sale. It's not going to be a wave. I've talked about that before, and we'll get into that again down the road. Not this episode. Purchase application index, it returned to 25% year over year growth. It was down last week, but it was way up the other week because of Labor Day. This is 25% year over year growth as far as purchase applications. It's 18 weeks of year over year growth. And new home sales off the charts. It's up 43% year over year. And it's up 15% year to date. That's amazing. And existing home sales, this is the seasonally adjusted annual rate, and you can see where we're at right now. We hit 6 million. It's up 11% year over year, and we hit the 6 million mark. And if you look, last time we were at 6 million, you draw a line across, it was a long time ago. It was back in, I think that's 2006, is that right? Yeah. And this is new home sales and recessions. You can see we had our little mini recession and boom, new home sales just skyrocketed. This is where new home sales are. So just because you have a recession doesn't mean that you can't have really strong new home sales growth, because now we're out of the recession with this quarter that we're in, and look where we're at. We are at a very high level. It's the highest sales rate since 2006. That's how hot new home sales are right now, which means that there's going to be a lot more permits coming up because there's just they're running out of things to sell. And new home sales, they can actually sell things that aren't yet built as well. So that's lumped into their sales. New homes months of supply, it's at 3.3 months, which is an all-time record low. So the amount of supply of new homes, which just shows that there's just not enough supply of new homes as well. So go to reportsonhousing.com, REPORTS on housing.com, and click on subscribe. And you get a month free if you utilize the coupon code AUTUMN, AUTUMN. There's an N on the end of that. It's kind of silent. It's AUTUMN. And there are sample reports at Reports on Housing. And I do have forecasts that I'm putting together. And if you want one at your office, have somebody contact me. I'm starting to book them for the office level and at the board level. And there are some different affiliates that are reaching out to me to book them. We're able to book the forecast. I'm in the process of putting it. My very first forecast will be next week. It starts in October. Thank you, Kevin Buddy, for your continued sponsorship at Monarch Coast Financial. Kevin Buddy has, of course, there's more than one kind of borrower, so there's got to be more than one kind of loan, and he has them. Everything from full doc loans to private money and everything in between. Loads and loads of experience since 1976. He's been helping tons and tons of buyers and knows his stuff. Kevin Buddy at Monarch Coast Financial. Contact him at 949-422-2075. Now we have time for cocktail Q&A, and I got to keep up with this. All right, so you're wondering, what are you going to drink today, Stephen? Well, I'm going to have a bottle of Martinelli Zinfandel, a 2016 Russian River Valley. That's right. This is what I'm having. Cheers. So you can go ahead and ask your wonderful questions that you might have. Will home values continue to increase as a result of artificially low interest rates even as we move into a slower market? Yes. And we call them artificially low interest rates. It's not necessarily. We've been at zero before. The reason that interest rates are so low is because the 10-year, there's been so much money placed into bonds that the bond drove everything even down further. So you have to understand that until the economy starts to improve, then we'll get the 10 years starting to go up, and that's when we'll see interest rates reverse. But until then, it's going to juice the market quite a bit, because anything below 1% is going to keep these interest rates extremely low. That's awesome, Cindy. She says, my brokerage already has you guys for the forecast. Stephen Thomas, you are such an asset. Oh, thank you, Adam. Do I have any questions? Anybody joining me for a question or anything? I'm looking. Do you think open houses will be held till has lowered further? Yeah, open houses are a mixed bag. I mean, there are different protocols that you could do for it, but it would be kind of shunned upon if you're the one that's doing it. I've seen, these digital open houses that have been done with a lot of success, with open house signs that say digital open house. So I can't answer that as to how the government and how our industry in California is going to respond to that. So can I get a copy of the slides for this one? Oh yes, you can, Josh. Is a real estate dump due? No. Cheers. I don't see the real estate market tanking anytime soon. Real estate is a strength in the economy right now. Just because you have a recession doesn't mean that things should go down. That's what everybody is naturally assuming. I've given all the statistics. The demographic patch that's coming to purchase right now, it is a very, very strong demographic patch. If you want it, somebody that talks about this regularly is Logan Mohtashami. Gotta follow him. He's got fantastic stuff that he writes. He's a writer, writes quite a bit. And so follow him on Facebook. It's Mohtashami, Mohtashami. And so he talks about demographic patches. And the demographic patch that we had prior to the one that's coming right now to the prime age, which is 32 years old, we're going to have several years of a lot of 32-year-olds, a lot more than we've had for a long time, come to age, and they'll be part of the whole mix. So we will need to build more homes over the next 4 years. So that will fuel things even further, and that will increase the amount of demand that's out there. And with low interest rates, it will continue. So do you think the lack of inventory in the 500,000 range is because the unemployment mostly affected the lower income? Fabi, that's a good question. I don't necessarily think that that's necessarily it. It could be part of that, but I also did this back in the day when we started in 2012. You have to understand, we used to have homes, even in Orange County, detached homes at 250,000. A lot of detached homes between 250 and 500. And as values continue to go up, that 250 to 500,000 just about disappeared. So what happens is you have properties that are appreciating outside of what I'm looking at. So 0 to 250, I actually had to change that, and I no longer even follow 0 to 250. There was hardly anything in 0 to 250 land, so I couldn't even follow it, so I just made it 0 to 500,000. So 500,000, a lot of stuff that's right below that is starting to appreciate beyond 500,000. So it's not like we're going to go back. And that has more to do with it than anything else, is that values are on the rise, and they're going up at a pretty significant pace. The present rate, which I think will slow down now that we're going to get into real autumn and real holidays, has been about 1% per month. Any thoughts on when inventory will pick up? Gosh. Let's see. So we're going to start off next year with, got my head down so you guys can see the top of my head. That's how I was thinking. I should just put my head up. Really, I really don't see us having that many homes. We're going to hit a record low at the beginning of the year. So we're going to have a record low number of homes on the market. Can we increase? Well, absolutely, but it will take time to even increase, because all of a sudden a lot of homes don't flood the market, and they don't really start coming on the market at a rapid pace until we get to around the third week of March. So it'll be really low, and then our demand will be hot because of low interest rates. So I really don't see us adding much to inventory until around April, May, and it won't even be that much. And then of course, then we'll put more on in June and July because it'll be more of a normal market. And then hopefully we'll have a vaccine so that people can actually travel, and travel gets back, and that would slow down our summer a little bit, so that would give our inventory a chance to grow during the summertime, because that's when it grows, when there's a lot of distractions. If we're not distracted, we're going to go buy a lot like we did this last summer. So hopefully there's enough distractions going on. We actually have graduations and things like that. So we'll have to see. I know that they've canceled New Year's Eve. It's now going to be a virtual ball drop or something like that. So it's all, the big asterisk is COVID. So that is very hard to do a forecast based upon not a virus that's out there. Non-ocean view luxury 2.4 million plus demand. Yes, non-ocean view luxury. There is demand. Depends upon what the property is. So I know of places in, like, let's say, for example, Coto de Caza. Coto de Caza is very inland, doesn't really have an ocean view, yet I know of properties that have come on the market in that $2+ million range that have been in the market for a week, or have even had offers prior to coming on, like multiple offers, like they're just about to come on the market, it's coming soon, they have a lot of activity, and then they end up flipping the switch and it sells immediately. So it just depends upon the property, really. It boils down to, and I've talked about this before, what makes homes sit? Well, what makes homes fly is the opposite of what makes homes sit. So it's got to be dialed in, looks like a total model, looks fantastic, totally turnkey, has upgrades, has different bells and whistles and amenities. It doesn't have that aged feel. It's not part of an aged area. It has a good location. Maybe a bigger lot if it's not ocean, if it's not, doesn't have the ocean view and it's more inland and has a bigger lot. I mean, that's the attraction right now for people that some people, they might want to sell their ocean view house that has a tiny little lot and go move to an area where they can spend that same amount of money yet get a bigger lot, maybe get a little bit bigger of a home as well. So it just depends. There's a big giant change afoot right now. And but there is a lot of demand out there, and it's in every price range. What do you think of CER published high increase in defaults? The default rate that they're talking about, it's really forbearance. So all these properties that are in forbearance are properties that are technically in default, and they're in default, but they have a program that allows them to be excused. It's like an excused absence of paying their mortgage. But once they come out of it, they have to do something with everything they miss. So all the homework that they miss, which is all the payments, they're going to have to put together an installment plan of paying that back, or defer it and put it at the end. So a lot of that will actually be solved. And lenders are actually not in the appetite to foreclose. They're in the appetite to make things, to work things out. I don't know yet how their capacity is in these, they call them the asset management departments. Well, the asset management departments will actually manage what happens to these people in forbearance. They're not going to turn around and foreclose on anybody. We learned that after the Great Recession, that there were no rush to foreclose on everybody all at the same time. Rather, they want to work things out. And with this pandemic, they understand with the forced stoppage, there's a lot of people that couldn't pay, that once they get adequate work and all that stuff, that yes, they can work it out. And there's other people that they'll come out of it, they'll place their home on the market, but they're not going to foreclose on them because they have their home on the market and they're actually waiting for them to sell because they might not have the income any longer to continue to afford the monthly payment, yet they have the equity. Because I've told this to so many people, so a lot of these people that are in default, in forbearance, which allow them to freeze their payments, so they're actually not really defaulting against the loan because they have an excuse and they're allowed to do this. However, at the very end of the day, that they will have to pay it back. But 90% of all the people in forbearance, all these loans, 90% of the 3.5 million have over 10% equity. So if they have more than 10% equity, they actually have enough where they can draw and pull from to go ahead and make themselves whole. you have that on top of the mass appreciation that's taking place right now, about 1% per month, which is just ridiculous. The pace that it's at right now, but it also helps the people that are in forbearance, that even though they're missing payments, their value of their home is actually going up. But when they go to sell, they'll not only have to pay their balance, they have to pay off that forbearance amount. All those missed absences, all those missed payments will have to be paid back. It's kind of like when you go on vacation and you got an excuse that you're going to go. When I was a kid, I think I went to Mammoth for a week. I was gone for a week. I still had to do all that homework and turn it in when I got back. At least the way forbearances work, it's not all due once it's all done. Instead, they'll work out a payment plan. You can turn in this and this and this over the next several weeks. Or you can do it at the very end when you're about to graduate and be handed the diploma. It's all due. You have to turn it all in. So those are the options that are out there. Let's see. Is real estate agent going to dump due to the mortgage relief tacked on the other end of the loan? No. When it's put on the end, it's not going to make when it's deferred and put at the end and they've got an adequate job and all that stuff, it's just a payment that they have to pay at when they go to sell the house, or when all said and done and they paid off the house free and clear. At the very end, they have to make additional payments to pay off the forbearance amount. But as long as they're adequately employed, they'll be able to make that monthly payment. Their monthly payment won't change. They just froze it right now, and they'll be able to pay it down the road. They might work out an installment plan. There's different ways to work these things out. It's not going to create any kind of disaster on the other end. How do you see commercial real estate? I know that if I was talking to somebody that is very involved in commercial real estate, so you got the office and retail space, that is going to hurt a bit. And then you have the industrial. You try to go up to like a city like Anaheim where there's a lot of industrial. Very, very, very hard to find anything industrial right now, and it's doing quite well. But it's really, I'm more concerned about the retail spaces and office space. And because we've learned how to telework, so there's going to be a blend going forward. You won't need as much office space, which is what's the most expensive line items are staff and bricks and mortar. That's one of the biggest. Those are some of the biggest line items. Well, if you can cut down your brick and mortar, you're gonna. Now that we've learned how to telecommute, it's really going to change things. But it's going to change the amount of office space that people are going to need. So that's going to create some vacancy, as well as on retail. We've done a lot of online. It's now 16% of all retail. Hard to believe, but we were at 0% back in 15 years ago or something like that. And so we're learning how to spend more online, so it creates an issue for retail space. There is retail that will always work, but there's online stuff that really works well as well. So there's going to be less retail that's going to be needed, and then you have less office space. What do you do with all that stuff? Well, I'm arguing that we need a lot more residential home housing built, more affordable as well as more dense, and I think we're going to get it. I think I mentioned this before, that my father-in-law, he has a pizza place. He owns the property, Ballpark Pizza Team in Mission Viejo off of Los Alisos and the 241 toll road. But great pizza. That's the only kind of, we're pizza snobs in this family. We absolutely love that pizza. That's our pizza, and everything else just pales in comparison, because we just absolutely love our pizza. And they have, there used to be a Vons that was converted to that other chain from Washington that went bankrupt, and then it sat there vacant. They ended up bulldozing down that end of the strip. My father-in-law's place sits right there on the street. My in-law's place, actually, just say father-in-law, my mother-in-law too. It's right there on Los Alisos, and in the back, they bulldozed it all down, and the models, I think they're just about done. They've turned it into models. I think that's what we're going to see with office space and retail space. We're going to see some mixed use, and it really makes sense. I mean, it would be a fun place to live too, and they're building both townhomes and patio homes detached. At what point would you get concerned about this rapid appreciation that is happening? Well, when I start to see that it really affects the affordability rate. And I look at the affordability rate as different measures. I look at incomes, where incomes are, I look at median sales price, and I look at where the interest rates are at. And that is where I build the affordability metric that I'm looking at. And I've looked at it over time. So as soon as it starts to unwind, so I'd have to see this continued rapid appreciation, and perhaps if we're going at a great clip for, let's say it happens all through 2021, I'd have my concerns. So initially right now, I'm not that concerned. I just want it to slow down the road. I'm actually rooting for more product to come on. I'm rooting for more people to say, people say, yeah, there's all these people leaving the state. Well, that would create more properties on the market. Our problem is we don't have enough properties on the market right now for people to even purchase. So we need more people to move out of state. We need more people to place their homes on the market. So those are the kind of things that we're continuing to watch, and I'd like to see more inventory. It doesn't look like it's going to happen until maybe the latter half of 2021 at the earliest. Might not be till 2022. When real estate housing market going to crash, 2021 or 2022? That's funny. There's not going to be a crash in real estate. We're the strong economic piece of the whole puzzle, and it's not inflated. It's not a bubble. I can show where values were where they were like right before every recession that we've had, and there's a reason for it, and that has to do with where affordability is at. Affordability is extremely strong right now, and even with interest rates going up towards 3.75, 4%, it's not until we get about 4.5% where things will really start to slow. So that's not going to happen anytime soon. Do you think that prop that is on the ballot that will change the transfer of the tax base rules will help to increase inventory? No. I don't think that, and they can argue this. I think I've seen some of California Association's realtors argument that it would create more people that would move around. And that's that 55 plus, that you're able to do it more than once, and that you're able to do it at going up in value as well, and not just down, same or down in value. So, but I don't see it creating this mass amount of inventory. Every time anybody talks about a wave, it makes me just stop in my tracks, and I want to know why. Why is there going to be a wave? It's not all of a sudden people go, holy cow, now all of a sudden I'll do it. Because here's the problem. A lot of people are reluctant to place their homes on the market because they're reluctant. They say, there's not really anything for me to purchase. There's not enough out there for me to purchase. We've all heard that before. There's ways around to talk people into still placing their homes on the market, and then make it subject to finding a home. But there's a lot of people that are super happy with the house that they're in. It's not just a house, it's a home. They have a lot of memories there. It's very hard to make them all of a sudden want to move. There has to be a big giant shift in their thinking, and it's just, I don't see that being a wave. So do you think that, let's see, any other questions? Hi, better late than never. I think Prop 19 will increase inventory. Do you? No, I just answered that. I wish it did. I actually, I would love for it to prove me wrong, but I just don't see it. Hi, Lisa. Oh, let's see. Any other questions? I love these cocktail Q&A segments. That's funny. All right. Well, it looks like I've got to the end. I forgot to flip on the air conditioning system, so I am just a hot mess right now. But cheers to a fantastic weekend, to autumn, which is nice, warm days, cooling down. You can open up the windows and crisp, cool mornings like this morning. There was nice fog. Loved it. Loved today. Felt very autumny out. So enjoy your autumny weekend. We'll see you on the other side. Stay tuned for another housing debrief, episode 45. Next Friday will be the first Friday in October, and it will not have a happy hour Q&A. But thank you so much, and thank you, Monarch Coast Financial, for your continued support. Absolutely, it's been fantastic. So thank you very much. Have a fantastic weekend, and we will see you on the other side.